Today we're building a amplifier box, and it's a very small amplifier, pretty much like a Fender Champ. This will be made out of pine. The box itself will be made out of pine, and it's gonna be kind of a retro looking amplifier. This will be an all wood finish. There won't be any Tolex. The baffle will also contain openings for the sound to get through, but it'll also be all wood. Now I cut the rough lengths with the cross slide, but the more accurate way to do it is with the sled, which I'll do in a few minutes. I'm going to cut the lengths, then I'm going to set up the rip guide and rip the width. Rip all one side, reset the dimension to the final dimension, and then rip the other side. I like to cut it fairly slow so I get a nice finish, and I don't have to do a bunch of sanding. This will be the final cut. And then once this is done, I'll set it up on the with the sled and get my links cut exactly right. Just a homemade sled that I made that pretty simple to make, but once you get them set, it just makes cross-cutting a lot easier and more accurate. You can set stops. I didn't set a stop on this one, but cut to a mark, which is close enough for a cabinet like this. And I'm sneaking up on it. So once I get all the links cut, then I go to the router table to get ready for the box joints, the finger joints. I'm not that good at doing that by hand. I have a homemade CNC router, so why not just use the router? More accurate. At least for me it is. Once I cut all the ends like this, I'll set up my router table, and I will turn these up on edge with a guided bit, with a bearing bit, and cut that radius out of there. I already did it and forgot to record it, so I'm just showing what I ended up doing. Is you just slide it across there, and you can see the bearing in there in that little bit, and it just takes out the radius. And I don't have to do a lot of messing around to get it to fit. And using the CNC router, I put a couple thousandths relief in one of the cuts and kind of just slides together. This type of joint is really strong. You don't really need anything on the inside like cleats to screw to or a place to put nails. You just glue it, clamp it together, and it's a very strong system. Now this is the speaker baffle. This is the front side, the exposed side. It's a concave shape. The rest of that wood will be cut away, and then the next thing I'll do is cut the sound holes through it. I ended up changing out this baffle later on. I found out there just blocked too much sound. There's a giant spider that lives up in rafters in my garage, and he's been trying to get me for a long time. Now he's resorting to trickery. He's got a dangling bait from a web, thinking that, oh, I want that piece of wood. It looks like it'll fit right in my project. Then as soon as I reach out to grab that piece of wood, he comes down and rips my finger off. So no, I don't think I'm going to go for it. Here the box has been glued and clamped, and it's dry, and I radiused the outside corners. Now I'm putting the finish on it. It was a very light stain for this part of the box. And then for the speaker baffle, which is made of poplar, I put a darker stain, kind of a contrast, and just apply several coats of urethane. I'm working on the chassis now. I'm going to use a drill press, and you can see I got it really clamped in there well. Drilling sheet metal is a pain in the butt. If you don't have it really held securely, you don't get a round hole. So I just put a piece of tape across there and mark everything out. This mill has a DRO, so I can just dial it off and get everything exact, which is really not necessary, but as long as I have it. Here I'm installing components, doing a little bit of wiring. This will be a 5-watt powerhouse when it's done. Rattle the windows. A single-ended 6V6 power tube with the 12AX7 preamp tube. I've set up to drill the eyelet board, and I didn't drill it deep enough, so I got to do it again. But it goes pretty quick. So this will just go around and punch the holes through, and then after this, the eyelets, you just push them in, and they go in like a rivet. And you flip the board over and use a little tool to flare out the other side. Most of the internal components are in and wired now. In the coming several days, I'm going to make quite a few changes. I had a lot of hum. Wasn't sure where it was coming from, so I kept doing things one at a time and eliminating the problems, and finally got rid of them. But I had to move some wires and shorten some other ones and retrace some other ones, and finally I got it to where it was pretty quiet. You can see I'm using a toroidal transformer on this one for the power transformer. You don't see those very often. They actually perform a little bit better for power, but not so well for output transformers. Then I did the decal, the water slide decal for my panel graphics. I think it came out pretty good. And this is the assembled unit. I don't have the rubber feet on it or the handle yet, but that stuff's coming in, and I'll put that on as soon as they get in. I did put a back door on it, but it's not much. It's basically just a way to keep your power cord and maybe a few other things you want to stuff back there to keep it tucked into the back. All right, we're set up to start doing a little recording. Got the SM57 there, and you can see I changed the baffle on that thing. This one just works a lot better. Much more sound comes through. We'll start with this guitar, which I built. It's got the Dragonfire active Strat pickups in it. And then we will do another little piece with this Les Paul. This is one I bought new back in '73. Then let's give it a listen. You'll have to excuse my rather rusty guitar playing. I'm not what I used to be. I just don't play anymore. Okay, now this will be with the Les Paul. A little more power in the pickups. Well, that's it. I use Reaper for my digital audio workstation, and so you know, this is just straight in mic'd, and I added a tiny bit of reverb for the guitar and some compression in the master track, and that's pretty much it. Well, I hope you liked it, and thanks for watching.